Do you struggle with catching bass during the month of December? In this video, I'm going to show you 5 different baits, lures, or rig presentations that'll have you catching 10 times more bass during the month of December. Howdy y'all, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Randy. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're a seasoned vet of the channel, thanks so much for continuing to watch and subscribe to Aquaholic Fishing. I don't know about you guys, but it's even more than hoodie weather this time of year. I'm wearing a jacket, I'm wearing a coat, especially when I'm out there bass fishing. The ambient temperatures as well as the water temperatures are going down in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, which means those bass are a little more lethargic. Their metabolism is not quite as high, and just about all those fish in the water column, many of them are cold-blooded, and so they're going to start to slow down as that temperature starts to come down inside of the water column. The first one I like to use during the month of December isn't a bait specifically or a lure specifically, but moreover a rig. I love to use the drop shot rig when fishing for largemouth bass during the month of December. We can fish them a little slower, we can fish them a little faster. If we have some dead and broken grass still inside that water column, we can get out of that mud, that muck, and that grass and elevate or suspend our baits a little bit higher in the water column. Everything inside that water column is moving a whole lot slower than they did even just a month ago. The water temperatures are coming down. Some of those bass are going out deep. We can still get them with that drop shot rig, no matter if they're deep or shallow. When I'm fishing with the drop shot rig for largemouth bass during the month of December, Power Pro 10-pound braid high vis line is my main line of choice. Right there behind that for my leader material, with a little Palomar knot, I'm going to use that Sunline 6, 7, or 8-pound test. If I can get away with 6-pound test or even smaller, as far as my 100% fluorocarbon leader goes, that's what I'm going to go ahead and go with. I like that decoy shot rig this time of year as my hook, my preferred hook, in that number 2. The owner in the number 1 for a drop shot rig is also really good. The juggle minnow is really good, as well as the stroker craw from 6 cents this time of year. Very subtle presentations. I'll tell you a little trick. If you are not getting bit and if you need to downsize, cut this thing in half, rig it on your drop shot, and thank me later. One of the other baits that we can use when we're out drop shot fishing for largemouth bass during the month of December is the good old faithful robo worm. This time of year, I really like using the people's worm as the color choice when I'm out there largemouth bass fishing. Use different variations for baits on your drop shot rig when you're fishing during the month of December. Everybody's out there shopping. If you want an excuse to get out there and go fishing, tell the wife, tell your significant other, tell your girlfriend that you're going shopping. They're always going to want you to go shopping because they think it's for them during the month of December. Hit Bass Pro, grab you a couple of baits, and go out and hit that drop shot a little bit out there at the pond. When those ambient temperatures are dropping, we can know and rest assured that those water column temperatures are dropping as well. My real favorite to go to this time of year is that Strike King Rage Craw. Fishing a craw anytime during the month of December and in the month of January is oftentimes just guaranteed bites. I like to use a number 3 or number 4 Gamakatsu offset hook. I think is a great pairing for this. If I can fish it weightless, I'll fish it weightless. Sometimes I'll throw a little bit weight on it, but you don't have to have a weight on these in order to get bit by that largemouth bass during the month of December. Guys, you have to understand during the month of December, the largemouth bass is seeing a lot of craws inside of that water column. When you catch a bass during the month of December, always grab that bass by the lip, look down inside of its mouth, and sometimes you're going to see those crawfish laying deep down inside of its throat, or you're going to see the pinchers hanging out down inside there. Look at the colors. You might see some reds, some blues, some browns, some grays. Use those colors to identify the color of crawfish that are eating inside the water column and then adjust according to those colors. You do not have to 100% match the hatch in order to get bit. There's going to be a couple of different colors out there. There's no doubt about it. Not every crawfish is going to look the same, but it'll give you some sort of an idea or give you a starting point of what colors to start throwing because of what the bass are seeing inside the water column. The number 3 rig or bait choice that I like to use when fishing for largemouth bass during the month of December is the shaky head. I like to utilize the VMC stand-up shaky head. I like the 1/8 and I like the 3/16 as far as the weight goes for this shaky head presentation. I like to use 10-pound Power Pro braid as my main line. I'm using Yozuri 10-pound test as far as my fluorocarbon leader. Whatever material you want to use, whatever brand specific you want to use, this is just what I prefer, and I'll switch if I need to switch, but these predominantly work really well for me when fishing with that shaky head presentation, and I think they will for you as well. Some of the baits that I use on my shaky head, the Zoom trick worm. I use that chartreuse tail if the water column's a little murky, a little dirty, a little dingy, especially after like a rainstorm. And then my absolute favorite to use during the month of December when chasing largemouth bass on the shaky head is the Hog Walla from 6 Cents. I'm using the Hog Walla 5.8. It comes in a 10-pack. I like the Watermelon Red Pro, and I like the Green Pumpkin during the month of December. When we're working on that shaky head rig, like I said, I like to use that trick worm. Just understand there's a couple of simple modifications that you can make with trick worms or any of the different baits that you're going to use out there. You can also, this time of year is when I like to start using the spike it, either the dye or the markers, little orange, little chartreuse. If you don't have those already on the baits, you can just kind of dip it or mark it up the way you want to. You can trim the end off like I've done here. If it's tapered, give yourself a little more flat surface to work with to go up inside of that screw lock fitting or onto a Ned head or whatever. You can split that tail right down the middle, 1 inch, 2 inch, however you want to do it, to give it a whole different fall action, as well as when it's sitting down in the water column and it's pinned up down there, it'll give you a completely different look and give you a lot more action down inside that water column. You don't need to have crazy action on that shaky head when you throw it out there. I just cast it out there. Sometimes I'll let it sit once it falls down inside that water column, occasionally tapping on the butt of that rod a little bit just to get a little bit of movement on that worm, that craw, or whatever it is that I have on the shaky head at that time. Sometimes the bass want a lot of action. Sometimes the bass want a little action, just like any other bait in the water column. The number 4 fishing lure when fishing for largemouth bass during the month of December is the crankbait, guys. Whether you're using lipless, the old Bill Lewis rattle traps are still one of my favorite. Go to the micro size. Go to the size even smaller than these. That blue and chrome is a killer, always one of my favorite. Give yourself multiple options as far as throwing that crankbait out there. Whatever your favorite is, go ahead and throw it. Whether it's any kind of a bait fish pattern, a shad pattern, the old red eye, any of those types of things are going to work this time of year, really starting in November, December, January, whether it's shallow or deep. I love to throw that bait out there. Some of those other baits are not as exciting, a little bit more on the boring side as far as when you get that strike. I think the lipless crankbait as well as the Hybrid Hunter Junior, especially in that little black and chartreuse color, is an absolute killer during December, and we can never forget that red eye or any kind of bait fish patterns, sunfish patterns, or anything of that nature. That number 5 choice that I use when chasing that largemouth bass bite during the month of December is the Ned rig. I have that Ned rig tied onto one of my rods or reels all the time during the month of December. Whether I'm throwing that Crush City from Rapala, whether I'm throwing the TRD, the Finesse TRD, the TRD Ticklers, the Bugs. I like the Yoga Pants. I like the Slam Shady. I like those type of bait colors, sometimes working in the chartreuse, sometimes working in the oranges or the reds, mimicking those small crawfish, those soft shell crawfish that the bass are seeing inside of the water column during the month of December. There's so many head types out there, guys, now for the Ned rig, whether you want chartreuse, black, green pumpkin, if you're making your own. I like the Shrooms head from Z-Man. I believe it's the 1/15th. I like to work the smallest, not the micro size, but the next size up. I don't want too much weight. Fish with the smallest weight size humanly possible to be able to get that strike, be able to get that casting distance, and be able to get that fall rate that you're trying to get inside of the water column. There you have it, guys. We're talking drop shot, shaky head, Ned rig, crankbaits, and craws. If you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I'm doing a contest right now. It's gonna be a little secret Santa contest. I might give away 2, 3, 4, 5, who knows how many prizes. You need to like this video. You need to leave a nice comment inside this video, and you need to leave hashtag, all caps, Aquaholic Fishing Texas inside of that comment some way, shape, or form. I might give out gift cards. I might give out some rods and reels. I might give out some baits and tackles. I do not know for sure what I'm giving out, But guess what? If you win, you will be notified. You will have to email me back, and we'll deal with all that once I figure out who the winners are. Any which way, I want to wish a Merry Christmas to each and every one of you out there. I hope everything is going great for you and your family. I hope 2025 was great for you. I hope 2026 is even better for you and your family. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you guys on the next video.